And we are live! Welcome to the Crafty Boys, where we sit around, drink beer, and talk about bullshit. So there you go, that's our introduction. We've been doing this show for 528 years, because our beer has pickled us, and we're completely... we'll survive the next...
I remember when we did episode like 2362 was when Abraham Lincoln was shot.
I know. It's been such a great run. I mean, how else can you really describe the success of our show?
I know.
Longevity, boys and girls.
I know.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Locke, you're looking sexy as all hell.
Usual. Yeah. That's how I roll.
Boilerplate stuff right there.
Mm.
Boilerplate. He rolls out of bed and he's like, "Hey." All right, Locke, start with your beer, because we don't know what it is, and I have to go get mine.
Okay. I earlier today made a sharper turn than I maybe should have made, and the beer went flying across the vehicle, so it's a little shaken up still, a little shaken and stirred and all that. But so this evening I am drinking this. Can we see that? No, the light is. Let me improve the light.
That wouldn't happen to be Rad Seeker, would it?
No, it's not Rad Seeker. That would be fuckity awesome if it were, but it is something that actually has language that is very similar to Rad Seeker. This is Wicked Humans.
Wicked Humans.
How do we do this? There we are. Wicked Humans.
Nice.
Wicked. By whom? Who made this product?
So this is a collab between Sawdust City Brewing Company, where I've been enjoying many of their products over the last little while, because they are, amongst other things, also a very accommodating pub and beer parlor. So, dear Wicked Humans.
Accommodating. They're very accommodating. I show up there, I'm like, give me all your beer. And they're like, there you go.
Sort of like that, yeah. I mean, they charge me for it a little bit, but, So, dear Wicked Humans, thank you for purchasing this beer. Much like the amazing folks at Town Brewing, that's who the collab's with, and Brew Culture, whom we collaborated with. Brew Culture are, I'm not sure who Brew Culture are. But it's Town Brewing and Brew Culture and Sawdust City. We are so happy you decided to be a part of our growing community. A smash West Coast IPA. This beer showcases Raven floor malted Pilsner and YCH Vista hops. A classic example of the sticky, oily, dank IPAs you grew up drinking. It is almost as wicked as you. Almost. Now, interestingly, the tin, when they identify the ingredients, what they have on here is barley.
There is barley in this beer.
I think, to clarify, there are also hops, but for whatever reason we decided the write-up was adequate to capture that. So this is a smash West Coast IPA. Now, are you familiar with the term smash?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Capital
S, capital M, small case A, capital S, capital H. What it means is single malt and single hop. So it's not a variety of hops all going into the pot and they're trying to, and it's not a variety of different malts to, this is a focused attempt to capture the flavor of this malt with these hops. And in this case, the malt, again, to reiterate, is Raven Floor Malted Pilsner. And the hop is YCH Vista hops. And so how does it taste, I guess, is the next question.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes good. You know what it actually reminds me of a little bit is a Deschutes product called Mirror Pond, which is to say that it is a very, very balanced beer. It's not hop forward to the degree that I would have expected for a West Coast IPA, which tends to be pretty resiny, lots of pine, you know. This is a very balanced blend of hops and malt, which I think is probably what you would do if you were trying to make sure that people could taste both of those things, which is sort of what goes on in a smash, right? So yeah, Mirror Pondish. Very smooth, like super smooth. I don't know if I'm reading Deschutes right on this, but I think the reason they called their product Mirror Pond was the idea is that, you know, you've got one thing reflecting another, you know, and so you got this sort of symmetry between the hop profile and the malt profile. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting going on here. So yeah, a wicked beer for wicked people.
Cool.
This makes me very pleased. I'm really liking their social media stuff that they're doing. I just thought I'd share this one that keeps popping up, and here it is. And it is now, I think this is Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah,
but I can't. Is this Ric Flair or is this? I can't.
I don't think so.
I think that's the Macho Man.
No, Macho Man never wore it.
The Macho Man in retirement.
Actually, no. Yeah. Good point.
And
Yeah,
it's blonde.
A little weird.
I don't know who that is.
I can't identify that. That somebody. It's one of those characters you're like, oh right, of course, that's so and so, right. But
is it maybe Big John Studd?
That could be Big John Studd.
Maybe.
I mean, the thing. Who's the guy that carried the 2x4? Was that Big John Studd?
No, that was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That's Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
The guy on the left is Hacksaw.
Is Hacksaw? Yeah, we agree on that.
Hi-oh! I'm not sure who the other guy is.
I kind of want to say it might even be what's his face with the money. What was that guy?
No, it's not Ted DiBiase.
No, not DiBiase. Okay.
Oh, could that be Hogan in his villain phase where he was Hollywood Hogan?
I don't think
Hollywood he had that very distinct coloration in his
beard. You're right.
Yeah.
He had a funny thing going on with his beard, didn't he?
Yeah. But anyway, the only reason I bring that up is that they've actually done that a few times, and I have to say I respect that highly. So you know, bringing the 80s back. Okay, well that beer sounds amazing, and I kind of want to go there at some time. But the beer that Alan and I have is day 4 of the Phillips Space Case.
Oh, nice.
This is called Just What I Meaded Braggot.
And I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, so on the side here, historic references suggest Braggot, a beer and mead hybrid, is a Celtic drink dating back to at least the 12th century. Braggot was a common and distinctive drink throughout medieval and post-Renaissance Europe, and today remains the traditional drink of Wales.
And I think they mean the country, not the mammal.
Just like Helsinki, Finland. Or Helsinki, whatever. Helsinki, Sweden, what I meant to say.
No,
But,
no, Helsinki's in Finland.
No, I'm quoting Die Hard.
Oh,
Helsinki,
right.
Sweden.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah.
So this. Oh wow, look at that. That is. My mind's beaming out, but yeah, check that out. That's actually quite.
Mm,
Wow, yours is a lot hazier than mine.
it does seem like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. A
I
beer.
do smell the honey.
Oh, so do I. Oh yeah. Hmm. Hmm. That's
Oh
quite
yeah,
good.
that is good.
I have never had this style of beer before, at least that I'm aware of.
I
But
did have a mead at Beer Fest this past September.
right.
It was the first time I'd ever had one, and I really liked it. I thought it
Mm,
tasted more like a wine than it did
yeah.
like a beer or anything. I mean, not that
It,
mead is supposed to be like a beer, but I thought it would be have more characteristics in common with a beer. It did
Right.
not. It was more like a wine.
mhm.
And this is sort of more of like what I was expecting from that. This is like
Hmm.
a honey and a beer uh, mixed together the way my mind had formulated that it would be.
Mm.
It's not as good as this other one that I've had previously. It was a honey ale. It was from England. It was imported. I don't remember what the brand name was of it, but it was came in like this green glass bottle that was sort of, it wasn't like completely round. It was kind of oval shaped. And I don't remember anything about it. I can't find it online. Maybe I dreamt it. I don't know. But this is damn good.
Mm.
I have been drinking beer in my dreams for years. I like this one. It's got a nice solid flavor. It is effervescent as all hell, and
It's not effervescent of all hell. I mean, it's got a head on it. There's
I've got like a
carbonation,
significant
but
head that's just not quitting. This thing is still
I know.
going.
Mine quit.
But overall, I give this one a thumbs up. Mine
Sorry?
is just not hazy. Mine's more like a lager style or a
Yours
lager
appears-
look. If that's
I mean, I even given differences in lighting, I think yours appears to be hazier than Shane's.
Maybe my glass is just dirty. Yeah.
That is, you have now offended the beer aficionados of the world. You didn't clean your glass.
No, it is a clean glass. I don't know what to say. It is completely hazy. Like I cannot see through it at all. Even if I hold it up,
It is opaque.
If I hold it up to the light, I can't even see my finger on the other side.
Mm.
It's definitely they claim the flavor notes on the can here say it is lush, sweet, earthy, and honey. So you probably got more earth in yours. But I did not realize this. This is a 6% alcohol strong beer. So this one's not screwing around.
I kind of wonder if, like, when they have like the big barrel filled with beer and they're filling up cans,
right?
Is there a possibility that the ones who get the last bit in the barrel end up being a little bit more hazy just because maybe they get some trub?
I wouldn't rule it out. This is what you're drinking is, correct me if I'm wrong, a limited release.
Yes.
Small batch production. Yeah. So that's a reasonable supposition, I think.
Okay.
So basically, Shane got something that's a little bit earlier out of the barrel than me. I got one of the last bits out of the barrel. That's fine. I'm okay with it.
I'm liking this one at all. I give this one a thumbs up. I think this is something that this to me would be a beer they should do on a regular basis. In beer news, I just wanted to share this with you guys. This I saw yesterday. Lagerpalooza.
Mm-hmm.
Lagerpalooza is just announced recently, and it takes place on April 1st. And basically, they want to bring attention to the beer style that has been poo-pooed in sort of the craft beer circles, being done by the Annex Ale Project and the Establishment Brewing Company, which I think are both in Calgary, if I remember correctly. The Establishment Brewing, I believe. Is this Calgary? This doesn't look like Calgary at all to me. Get lost. Yeah, Calgary, Alberta. So
It's hard to recognize Calgary because whatever it is that Calgary looks like right now, they'll knock it down
true.
and then walk away and assume that because of the economic collapse, nobody will ever live in Calgary ever again, and then they'll rebuild it all overnight, and there'll be a whole new Calgary.
Yeah, I was there last summer, man, and it's changed a lot, and it changed while I was there. So so I just wanted to point this out because this seems to be it seems like just a cool idea. Like it's not not
This
a
is
huge event.
this is what I've been harping on for ages, which is that if craft beer is going to survive the trend phase of wow, it's really hip right now, and then in 20 years everybody's going to shake their heads in embarrassment. Like if it's going to survive, it needs to do interesting things with beer tasting beer, right?
True. This
It's
is very
true.
true. Because lagers are the sort of they're the
your
bar
dad's
that everyone hits.
They're your
They're
dad's
the dad's beer.
No, seriously, that's
Yeah,
what everybody's
but
dad's.
on top of that, they're also crisp and refreshing in summer, which I'm going to just go ahead and put it out. Is way more what I would hope for on a hot day than something that's sickly sweetened and sort of like fruit punch that maybe somebody put a cigarette out in. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if it was up, I totally get what Locke is saying here. If it was up to me and I was to pick between the two styles, I would take a Pilsner over a lager.
Okay.
But that's just me. That's just
no, and you're right. Most of my excitement in that field of cold fermented beers, yeah, I do tend towards pilsners myself. In fact, it's a wonder that I didn't do Little Norway, which is the pilsner offering from Sawdust City, which is my go-to when I actually show up at the bar, which is a kind of an odd thing because I've like rare that I walk into a brew pub or a brewery and I'm nowadays a craft brewery and the first thing off of my lips is give me the Pilsner, please. Like it's fantastic.
It is.
It's so good. When that style is done properly, it's something that people for centuries have been, yeah, this is really good beer.
I've actually, I mean, for years, I was sort of like an anti-lager and Pilsner guy. And then the craft breweries started really sort of playing around with the whole Pilsner style maybe a couple of years ago. And I tried some of them a little bit sort of reluctantly, I'm ashamed to say. And it really caught on with me. It's like I actually go out and find Pilsners now. But I mean, there's some lagers too, like say a Vienna lager.
Yeah.
Some of those are really, really good. Going back to Pilsners, Italian Pilsners.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that space right now. Yeah.
Really refreshing. There was one with Shane and I did the space case from Phillips last year. So this is the 2021 version of it. They had an Italian Pilsner in there that was to die for. Like I said at the time, it's like Phillips should make this as part of like their regular rotation. I'd buy it. I'd buy it year round. It's not enough to overtake Fat Tug, but
Well, this is true. But
Fat
I
Tug,
mean,
Fat Tug is for its style, like a sort of an apex point, and for the Northwest climate, I don't think you're going to do better than that. But not everybody lives in the Northwest right now. I'm out all the fucking way out here in the mid East, I guess. No,
Mid-East?
I'm mid, no, north mid, north.
Locke is all the way out in the Middle East.
No, I'm
We're
in the
gonna go to
north.
our on the stage
I'm
reporter over there, and
yeah, I'm EST, but I'm not maritime time. Where the fuck do I live? I'm Bracebridge is where?
what's in that beer you're drinking?
I think I'm in the Ontario North, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah,
but not the North, because that'd be like that'd be South River.
Uh-huh.
right. You'd be living inside of a moose.
Yeah, this is very true.
No, I'd be looking for moose to live inside of, but anyway, yeah.
We have another article here that I'm assuming, Alan, you sent.
Yeah, I did. So I don't know all that much about
Ooh.
it. I read this today and I thought it was so interesting. So Shane, I was thinking that you could comment on this because you are the home brew master out of us all.
I
I've
wouldn't say
dabbled
that,
in it
but
a little bit. But anyway, essentially
no
what this
boil?
article is about is part of the beer making process is a wort boil. So you make your wort and you boil it for like an hour or so, whatever the recipe calls for. And that is to clean up all of like the germs and bacteria and all that kind of stuff.
Well, okay, so yeah, I mean, clean it up, I guess, is one way of putting that. But ultimately, when people first started brewing beer, I suspect that the boil moment never really happened because back then they didn't know about microbiology, and wild yeasts were part of the process, but I don't think anybody was, because they're invisible to the naked eye, I don't think anybody particularly knew that, well, yeah, there's critters running around in this stuff, and we want to get rid of them so that we can introduce this very focused critter that's going to, I mean, that's
we're introducing our own little minions to do our dirty work, and then we're going to take this, and it's going to be great. Well, I mean, the big thing with this is that for me, like the boiling is actually not necessarily for killing anything, because you're creating alcohol, and the alcohol in the liquid is going to kill everything anyway.
True.
But the reality, to me, it's actually more about if you're adding things like extra, say you want to throw in an oatmeal or something like that, or you're throwing in a different grain or an additional grain. You want to get sort of the flavors out of it. So that's what the boil does. You're also trying to get the oils out of the hops and stuff like that you put in. So there's reasons for it that don't really have anything to do with hygiene, as it were.
Sure. Although let's be clear, it's not a hygiene issue, but it can affect the flavor. Like wild yeast can get pretty gorgonzola. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And that's the thing, because any step of the process, you're gonna introduce something into it. Like you could sneeze into it, or you could touch it with your fingers. There
are styles of alcohol production where that was part of the process. You're supposed to.
Joe, sneeze. All right.
No, seriously, cassava alcohol, which they used to brew in the Amazon. That was you'd like spit in it. Was how you make sure that there's enough yeast in there that it's going to go.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that it depends on how you actually do it, how you actually create your wort. Because if you're doing it completely from scratch and you're building it up from the very bottom, then you probably do want to boil. However, for me, I've fallen into the habit of getting liquid malt, and anything I add, I'll heat up individually, to get whatever flavor I want out of it, or I just throw it in. 'Cause I'm a home brewer. As long as I like it, who cares? And that's the thing, is that you're so the type of brewing that I've been doing for the last year or so has been entirely non-boil. I'm getting the hops, I'm getting the stuff, I'm just mixing them into the thing, and then I just let it ferment. So, because here's the thing, if you're using liquid malt, it's already been processed, right? So you don't necessarily have to boil it. And that to me was just a quick shortcut to skip by that, because our Yoda, our brewing Yoda, that's actually what he's been doing for ages. The only thought and the only times that he does any boiling is if he's taking all the adjuncts into it and wants to mix them up. He'll throw a little water in, then he'll boil that up, and then add it into the wort. But a lot of the time these days, it's like, it's just so much more convenient to do it that way. I'm not somebody who's gonna go and I gotta make sure the temperature of the thing is this. I'm gonna put this in at the right time. I've done that, and that's okay. But at the end of the day,
Your experience.
I don't have a lot of the equipment that would make the beer taste better. So I don't have large tanks, or I don't have a large thing to do it in. I don't have a sealed place for it to do its fermenting. So, and I mean, if I had like a garage, maybe I would get more invested in that kind of stuff. But I do it in my living room, so I don't really want to have a whole lot of extra equipment hanging around. So I guess I would consider myself a minimalist brewer.
Okay.
So, and at the end of the day, the beer tastes the same, I think, from from my boiling version to the other stuff. So, yeah, I don't know.
All right.
It's just the
Well,
way I
so
do it.
in this article, Southern Tier Brewing, which I'm not sure where they're located, I'm going to imagine somewhere down in the south. Anyway, they say that the CO2 emitted from boiling 10-barrel batch of beer at a commercial scale is about the same as taking a 4-hour road trip in a standard sized passenger vehicle, which is quite a lot of energy, I guess, for one batch of beer. So they've developed this, not really developed it, but they're saying that for certain types of beer, the boil isn't really necessary, or they can cut it down significantly down to say like 15 minutes instead of like an hour, and you wind up with the same kind of beer, which is basically what Shane said.
They are in, by the way, that brewery, the Southern Tier Brewing. They have locations in a bunch of places, but it's primarily New York State, Pennsylvania, and a bit of Ohio and
So very
North
not
Carolina.
south then.
So they're kind of that direction. Yeah, they're definitely not. Well, I don't know how.
They're south from our perspective.
Sorry,
True.
we're suffering from geographic dysphagia in this episode, so just bear with us, people.
Exactly. We don't know where the hell are we ever. But anyway, so yeah, I mean the 10-barrel batch, yeah, the commercial scale is equivalent to forward, yeah, which is, I mean, all of this stuff is going to be intensive anyway. Like all of the, because you're using water, you've got grain and some sort of malt that you've sourced or made yourself or whatever. So that requires a farm. Then you have hops, which grow somewhere and generally are harvested somewhere, and there's vehicles. So I don't know. At one to blame the boiling, not blame to single out the boiling.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of these products that they're making beer have to get shipped to them as well, and I'm sorry to say, the bulk of shipping in the world, not just North America, is done using diesel fuel. So you have all of these things that are being utilized to provide it. Now, the only way, ultimately, if you actually want to do everything. And that sort of was it the 100-mile diet, but essentially within 100 miles of where you live, would in theory help you, which means you can't go shopping. You can't go. You can only buy products that are made within 100 miles of you.
I mean, and in theory, I think there's a lot to that. Although you got to recognize that not every So I live in a food desert. Bracebridge has no real arable land. It's Canadian Shield stuff where it's all rocks. You're not going to grow a whole lot of food on rocks, and that's just the way rocks are. So trying to do everything in 100,
you could use the rocks to kill a moose.
What?
You could use the rocks to kill a moose, couldn't you?
There aren't enough mooses to feed, bears. Never mind all the fucking people.
I pictured Locke in the nude running through the woods with a large rock and a tree branch, hassling a moose.
I thank you for bringing that up. I will have other people imagine that too, because I'm liking this vision. I mean, I'm doing that in the current fucking weather, but yeah, moose steak. God, I've never had one. That sounds delicious.
It's so good. It's so good.
All I need,
I have had moose steak before, and it is quite good.
And to knock her on the head. So properly.
Moose is awesome. I'll tell you what, and I may not be popular for saying this, but venison, deer, meat,
You don't like it?
Oh, I hate it.
What?
I do. I hate it.
How can you not like deer meat?
I just don't.
It tastes like
that's
meat.
Okay. It's just you and me now, Locke. So we'll just forget Alan entirely.
But moose is awesome. Oh,
I remember going to my doctor in Victoria many years ago, and I had blood work for a yearly checkup kind of thing, and the iron in my blood was on the high level, and I said, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, did you eat moose the day before? Like, there's all kinds of ways you eat some food and it could be higher in iron, and that would be it. But I never forgot that about eating moose steak, and then I had one years later, and I just
really good.
I mean, if you really want to save the universe or save our planet, become a group of people that just wanders around, and you have to basically kill everything. So if you want to eat moose, you have to kill it yourself. But you don't really have any advantage. You have your fists and maybe a rock, I guess, and watch and see what happens to a moose.
Well, so I find it fascinating that you said that, Shane, because did you know that Greta holds that view as well?
Exactly. There you go.
Recently protesting wind farms in
protesting wind farms?
Protesting against wind farms because they were disturbing reindeer Europe. Reindeer herds that the Sami go around and beat the shit out of with their fists and then gobble up.
Sorry, who is this?
Sorry?
Who is protesting this?
Yeah, Greta. Really? Greta Thunberg? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She was really angry that there were all of these fucking wind farms that were.
How dare you? How dare you try to create green energy? You've robbed these reindeer of their futures.
No. The reindeer, their future is to be in the bellies of the Sami people, right? But the Sami, they're whiter than I am, but they're like indigenous. So,
well, I mean, I guess that's okay.
Can we talk about a little bit about protesters and how protesters are kind of like seems to be going off the deep end? Like there used to be, at one time there was protesting. You go to like the government buildings or whatever and stage a demonstration for a couple hours.
Format. You didn't usually bring a truck with you, did you?
No.
like for all that I've never been like. Look,
or disrupting traffic.
Everybody loves a good riot. You know, when I was younger, it would probably have been an excuse to commit misdemeanors. Regardless of the fucking politics, because I never really gave a shit. But I fucking headed up to here with fascist lefties and victims that, of hand wringing neolibertarianism. Like, I liked libertarians back when they were like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I do whatever the fuck I like. I would drive a big ass truck and wear a baseball cap. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. You know, those guys are fine. But when they start wringing their hands and they're like, we're victims because the way the world's going is all bad and it's not fair that when we say that we want to do whatever the fuck we want to do, that somebody says, no, you can't. No, that's not fair because we're...
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you something that a protester did here in Victoria last week, and it's going to piss both of you off.
Okay.
If you don't already know about it, Shane, you might.
No, I don't. I have no idea what's going on right now.
So a protester who was protesting like old growth logging or something went into the museum and threw paint on the woolly mammoth.
What a fucking twat thing to do.
Now, I guess my question is, how is this? How does the woolly mammoth have anything to do with old growth logging? And second of all, how is this act meant to actually sway people to your cause? All it does is just anger.
That's what I've been saying.
It makes me want to chop down 10
trees. The thing about protesters is they imagine that by stamping their feet and shouting that they're going to draw people to their side. No, you just look like a fucking asshole that I now want to avoid.
Right.
What was the point of throwing paint on the woolly mammoth? Like, what was the cause? Did they state what the cause was?
I'm sure they did. I was kind of like, oh god, I just kind of rolled my eyes and I didn't want to pay it too close.
Well, you know, I'd like to find them and beat the shit out of them, but that too would probably assault or some shit. I should know this for being a lawyer. You know,
I was just gonna say.
Assholes, but.
Set it on fire.
$5.
$5. Oh my god, I haven't thought of that in a long time. I don't know. You know, there's definitely a
Did you pull up a picture of the mammoth with the paint on it?
I'm looking for one right now, but I just found something else. So this podcast is approved.
Apparently, it's not permanently damaged.
Some pretty important people.
They can fix it,
but I just want to remind everybody that we do have a major project that's currently underway, approved by Greta, called Crafty Land. And I don't know where why she's hating on that now, but you know, I've totally forgotten what I was going to say.
And then apparently I don't watch award shows like the Junos and the Oscars. And
neither do I.
Hey, get out of here! Get out of here!
I know
apparently
guy just
somebody who
I told you to get lost
on stage.
Okay, sorry,
a protester during the Junos, naked while somebody was giving an acceptance speech, and that was that's
not a protest move. You don't show up on stage naked to protest something. You show up naked on stage to get laid.
Well, my favorite thing was that she had because I'm glad that you brought this up. I just saw this on
a woman showed up naked on stage and thought that was a protest act.
No, she had like 5 different messages on her body. So she wasn't up there to
But
protest
was otherwise
one thing.
what was otherwise bare ass naked.
Just topless, I think. I think she had other, whatever. But
Right?
the
Yeah.
thing is that she had
Nobody's looking at my
5 different things,
reading the
not
fucking
just
message,
one.
right?
To me, bringing an issue to the forefront to say, "Hey, this is really important. I hope people can think about this." But she had 5, and you couldn't read it anyway because the camera people were like trying to avoid her. But I don't know. I'm
Shane
not,
was
I'm not a
looking
fan.
real hard.
The job is.
I just completely like zoomed right in.
Oh, the level of incompetence here is through the fucking roof. You've got a protester that thinks that showing her tits is going to be a viable protest because she's written things, many things, because we all know about PowerPoint slides, right? How many
Oh, yeah.
messages can you take from a PowerPoint slide effectively? Like maybe one, right? So, but we'll put 5 on, and then the cameraman's like, oh, well, we better not watch that. That can't be newsworthy. Well, we'll try to veer away. You know, like,
Yeah.
at some point you get to an age where it's sort of like, why would anybody try to save the society? Evidently, they're all fucked, and not because of any particular opinion or political view, but rather because they're just fucking incompetent. You know?
Okay, I found an article about it. So here we are. So this is what I guess is happened here. So throws paint on the. No, I don't want any alerts. Thanks. Activist throws paint on the Royal BC Museum's woolly mammoth exhibit. Why?
Something to do with old growth logging.
Which has
Ottawa.
what the fuck to
Which
do?
has absolutely nothing to do with the Royal BC Museum and the woolly mammoth.
Yeah, not a fan.
Cut her toes off and make her cry.
I don't know. This type of, protesting is awesome. But I'm a supporter of protesting in public, where to me this is not public. This is a private space. Like an art gallery, for example, like the other people throwing, I don't know, food on paintings or whatever. It doesn't really. I don't respond to that kind of stuff because I find it.
It just makes you aggravated.
Yeah,
Well, it aggravates me, but it aggravates. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, sorry.
It drives people against the cause that they pretend that they're serving.
Absolutely.
But all of it, it's all a bit Protestant, isn't it? You know, like all of that. We fucking hate art. Art sucks. Fuck art. No art at all. Fuck.
Well, I also think partially that there's this. I understand why they do it. They think it's going to create press for a cause, but I think if they do it that way,
well, there's a type of situation where there's no such thing as bad press, and that's where you're just trying to be famous. When you're trying to support a cause, there is such a thing as bad press.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is, and I mean, and it's not very constructive. Like, it's actually not. I don't know. Does this actually indicate that protesting in general, so going out in the street and holding a sign and going to the
what kind of idiot thinks that that's a good idea? You know, right? Like I know how I'll draw people to my side. I'll dress up in a sandwich board. That'll make me look pretty fucking cool.
Well, this is the thing: is that what is modern protesting supposed to look like now? Is this modern protesting, this kind of stuff, or?
Well, no. Evidently, it's fucking killing security at the fucking Capitol, whatever the fuck it is, the mall or whatever in front of the Capitol building in Washington. Like there was a time when soldiers fucking soldiers who had risked their lives, had watched their friends get blown to, bits of, dripping red goo, showed up on the mall in front of that Capitol building to protest the fact that they didn't get their pensions. And the top soldier in the country at the time, Patton, opined that the right thing to do was draw a line, wait for the first fucker to cross it, and shoot the fucker. That's how they used to deal with things. Only a decade later, they had the fucking Nazis, who all of those soldiers fought and, soundly defeated, showing up dressed in fucking Nazi regalia, and everybody was like, well, freedom of speech. Well, I don't know. But in terms of fatalities, I think one of the few odd things about Donald Trump is he actually managed to get Americans killed in that fucking that routine of we have a right to protest. Like, I don't know, protesting is the sort of thing where it's sort of like it's just this fucking close to, yeah, this is a show of force and we're gonna fucking duke it out. And then it became sort of symbolic. And I think in its symbolic phase, it's sort of like everybody's, well, yeah, obviously everybody should have a right to do that. But when it veers back towards like, this is just a show of force, we've got people and we're going to do violence. It's really this fucking thin before it's sort of like, well, okay, you're going to do violence, so we're going to do violence. And at that point, freedom of speech, that's a fucking negligible concern.
I think what I have nothing against protests of any kind. I just hate the publicity stunt. The ones that are done for a publicity stunt.
Yeah, well, okay, and here's the other thing. I'm really fucking sick of these individuals who are out there to represent all of this fucking massive, million-person movement, but nobody elected me. Nobody fucking asked me. I didn't ask them, but I'm gonna fucking go and do some shit. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these publicity stunt things, like with the woolly mammoth, it was like one person, who took it upon themselves to do it. Same with the one at the at the Junos. But having said that, and a part of me kind of goes back to something. So in 1973, Little Feather goes onto the stage at the Oscars in place of, in place of Marlon Brando, who won the Oscar for Best Actor.
Little Feather, yeah.
At the time. And she, instead of delivering an acceptance speech, she delivered a speech about how Indigenous people in the performing community are treated.
You want me to use the term Indigenous? The UN hadn't fucking arrived at that yet.
Okay.
But native.
But you know what? I mean, she was vilified at the time for the stunt.
Did Marlon Brando support it?
I think he did, because I think
he was the one that gave her the platform.
It was like John Wayne and everything.
Somebody uninvited, unvetted. This is somebody that has talked to somebody.
Yeah. But I mean, there was people in the audience, like John Wayne in particular.
Well, John Wayne was always sort of an asshole drunk,
Really?
Like, I like him. Don't get me wrong. I've got plenty of friends that are asshole drunks. Wait a minute. But
that's funny.
I lost my train of thought. That was the best thing I've heard all day. But something words and brains. But essentially, yeah, the whole protest thing. I don't know.
Oh,
This kind of stuff is not the first. What the hell just happened there?
a
Are
cute
you
dog
trying
showed
to
up.
eat the computer? You are so cute. You are so beautiful.
Look up. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Hello there,
Who
Maya.
are these
How are you?
guys?
What
Who
did
are
I have to say,
they?
Maya? My
Is
brain.
that a good dog? Is that a good dog?
You should have a beer. Have a beer. Have a beer.
What?
Oh, that is love right there. You're a big, big dog.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
I totally lost my train of thought. Something about protesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there was a
Nobody should protest anything. Just accept the
Accept
world
status
as
quo.
given, and take your medicine.
When was the last time? When was the last time any protest fucking movement actually showed some goddamn discipline? Like, if a bunch of protesters all showed up dressed in suits, that would impress the fuck out of me. They never do that. It's all flip flops and sandals and fuck, I don't know, man, dude. Like, yeah, it's all fucked up, eh?
Yeah.
Some fucking, little bit of starch. Show me that you're fucking serious. Not by beating somebody up, but by actually going to the trouble of fucking dressing like you mean business.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And nobody really is. That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
And not just for protesting, just for anything. Maybe a funeral, I'll get dressed up, but I mean, come on.
Oh no, I suit up for work every fucking single day. Why?
Well, I figured.
I serve people who don't have, 300 bucks is the fucking hinge point of crisis in their lives. I don't want them to remember what they went through. And yeah, there was a guy dressed like Sam Bankman-Fried fucking trying to help me out. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, the guy I work for dresses, probably a step down from Sam Bankman-Fried and does the job with dignity because he actually has been doing that job for 19 years and knows it fucking inside out, right? Like, everybody's got to play the cards they're dealt. And so, if you can't afford a suit, I guess you're not going to show up in one. But for me, it's sort of like, I've never been at a point in my life where I didn't have the background knowledge that I can walk into a fucking Salvation Army, a Goodwill, or a Value Village and come out dressed like a fucking $1 million.
Really?
And I'm shitty to fucking clothe because I'm fucking super tall. But I I know that, like, why? Because it's once you've learned how to present yourself like you're like you have a certain level of gravitas and that you mean business. It's like a uniform. It's shitty in that respect, but it's also powerful. And it's sort of like, it's one of those things, like, for me, the thing that boggles my mind is the way from about the baby boomers on, everybody got conned into this idea that, well, you don't have to do this and you don't have to do that. You don't have to do this and you don't have to do that. And all of those things that you don't have to do, those are all the things that fucking ultimately, if you do them, you'll accumulate influence and power. But no, you don't have to do all of those things, right? Does it mean you shouldn't? Well, no, but you don't have to.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, it is close to midnight, if not 1 minute over midnight in certain wherever the hell Locke lives, because he doesn't actually know.
He lives inside of a moose.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He lives inside of a moose carcass.
I mean,
Any
I'm
final words?
in the Middle East,
In the Middle East.
Exactly.
not the
Any
East.
final words,
It's
boys?
sort of the middle of the East, but north.
Final
North.
words. Until next time, same Crafty Boy time, same Crafty Boy channel.
Sure.
Boldly
Hey, that
go
works for me.
where
We'll
beer
see you all
drinkers-
next week. Thank you all for watching. All of the stuff where you can follow our garbage is down below. And come by and hang out with us on Wednesday night. And, maybe we'll, I don't know, drink beer
And
together.
don't go up on
Kinda
stage
Your own
naked.
fucking beer, I'm not buying you.
Yeah, don't go on stage naked, because that's just not going to happen.
No. Go on stage.
Bye!
Don't do it for the wrong reasons.